Bleach is an anime that doesn't get talked about enough. Even amongst the big three, people usually go towards Naruto or One Piece. You always hear conversations about the other two, but you don't ever hear too much about Bleach. Now recently, with the 1000-Year Blood War arc anime news coming soon, there's been a lot more conversation about Bleach, and as someone who's been a long-time Bleach fan, I look at my channel and see not a single Bleach video. So I took it upon myself today to just make a video appreciating Bleach and my experience with this anime. Just like many, as a kid, I was a huge Naruto fan, and I would watch Naruto episodes every day after school on YouTube, and eventually started watching on this website called Naruto Get. This was a website fully dedicated to posting Naruto episodes. This was my go-to spot for binging the series, but on the same site, there were also other anime you could watch by clicking the bar at the top of the website's page. When doing so, it would link you to other websites created for specific anime, just like Naruto Get was. At the top bar, there were 5 anime that were there, which were Fairy Tail, Attack on Titan, DBZ, One Piece, and lastly a site called Bleach Get. At this point, Naruto had been the only anime I ever watched, and it stayed like that for a while. Then, one day, I went over to my uncle's house. My uncle was an anime watcher just like me, so he would talk about Naruto whenever I went over to his place. Since I was about 8 or 9 years old, he would let me play on his laptop with my brother when we asked. As we turned on his laptop, we saw this anime wallpaper with a bunch of girls with massive tits, but it did look really cool. I think I asked something on the lines of, "What anime is this from?" Now don't get me wrong, I wasn't a pervert, I was genuinely curious. Yeah, that was it. He responded with something like, "It's called Bleach, you guys haven't watched it yet?" At that moment, I remembered the anime called Bleach that I would always see at the top of Naruto Get while searching for a Naruto episode. I was already somewhat familiar with Bleach due to the fact that I had played a lot of computer fighting games with a whole lot of different anime characters in them. One of those games being Super Smash Flash. I'm sure a lot of you might know it, which had Ichigo. Though I'd seen certain anime characters, I never knew which animes they were specifically from at the time. I had known Ichigo as a character from Bleach that was in Smash Flash without ever caring to know anymore. But that had all changed after my uncle had told me it was a good anime and that I should check it out. From then on, I started my second ever anime, Bleach. Starting off Bleach, I went in with a completely open mindset expecting a fun watch. The fact that it was my second ever anime helped a lot because my only other reference point was Naruto. As I watched the first few episodes, I already noticed a huge difference from Naruto. It felt like I was watching a much more mature anime, from the character designs to the way the story was told. It was something I'd never seen before, which further fueled my excitement for the anime. It obviously doesn't take much to excite a 9-year-old, so I was already hooked just after a few episodes. By the time I reached the episode where Rukia was taken away by Renji and Byakuya, I was already fully enveloped into this amazing story presented in front of me. So then, I entered the Soul Society arc, which is probably one of my favorite arcs in all of anime, with absolutely crazy introductions to so many characters I love today, such as Ikaku, Kenpachi, Yoruichi, Hitsugaya, and so many more. It also had an endless amount of excitement with all the tension and stakes. With each battle Ichigo fought, he was pushed to new limits and new levels. As he fought to get closer and closer to Rukia, I found myself falling more and more in love with Bleach every single episode that went by. When it comes to fights that had a huge impact on me in early Bleach, the fight that comes to mind is Ichigo's fight against Renji, which was just absolutely spectacular. It had perfect balance of emotions, actions, and stakes all in one. I had always wondered why Renji acted the way he did despite caring deeply for Rukia, and after getting the backstory and seeing how Renji felt about Byakuya, I slowly had a better picture painted. In the moment where Renji swallowed his pride after losing and told Ichigo to save the person he cares deeply for, it's so much harder knowing how much pain Renji must have been in to have to sit back and watch his best friend be executed. There are so many reasons I was attracted to this anime, and as I said earlier, the females were a pivotal part in why I was interested in Bleach in the first place. And let me tell you, when I first saw Yoruichi's human form, I was going nuts. It was the first dark-skinned anime character I'd ever seen, and I was enamored by this character. She was hot, a badass, and was originally a talking cat. When it comes to Yoruichi, a key moment that comes to mind is when Yoruichi went in the bath with Ichigo and seemed completely unbothered. Before this scene, the most I'd ever seen in anime was Tsunade taking a shower. So as a kid, seeing Yoruichi willingly hop in the bath with Ichigo was mind-blowing. What I love about the female characters in Bleach is that it is nearly impossible to find a ugly or bad looking female character amongst its large roster of characters, which is a feat almost only pulled off by Bleach. The Bleach characters are all so mature and have so many lovable aspects to them that I'd have to make separate videos for all of them. Aside from the characters, the biggest reason this anime was so incredible and unique was its set of races and the power system known as Zanpakutos. As a kid, Zanpakutos were the sickest stuff I'd ever seen. I mean, come on, fighting with swords that had the embodiment of your soul? That was the coolest stuff ever. There were countless unique Zanpakutos with so many interesting and creative abilities that made it easy for me to enjoy the fights and never feel like the anime was getting repetitive, especially when they added Bankais. Bankai! Which brought Zanpakuto's power system to the next level. My initial reaction to Ichigo's Bankai can be still remembered to this day. I was breathless as I saw the tattered edge black robe along with this slim black blade. It was oozing epicness. Fast forwarding a bit, since I hadn't known what filler was as a kid, I had watched every single Bleach episode. Doing so, I came across the hated Bounce arc, which I personally had no problem with, to be honest. I do want to state that I also have watched Bleach about 3 times now and have never skipped the Bounce arc even once. That's just kind of a personal preference, but yeah, at the time it really felt like a breath of fresh air outside of the Hollow and Soul Reaper conflict. Then moving over to the longest arc in the anime, I'd quickly reached the Arrancar arc. This arc had so many moments to love. Aizen as a villain, bodying literally everyone, Ichigo vs Grimmjow, Ichigo vs Ukiura, all the captains' Bankais, all the espadas. This arc was jam-packed with non-stop action and stakes. The villain Aizen truly felt damn near invincible. But when Ichigo pulled up with the Mugetsu form and grabbed Aizen's face and sent him flying, I was forced to reconsider Aizen's vulnerability. And don't even get me started with Final Getsuga Tensho. After a long watch, I had finally finished the Arrancar arc, and Aizen had finally been defeated. I had no idea what to expect since Aizen was locked away and Ichigo was no longer a Soul Reaper. That's when I reached the Fullbring arc. When watching this arc, it felt like I was no longer watching Bleach due to a lot of the cast not being Soul Reapers, Hollows, or even Quincy's, but instead Fullbringers, some super powered humans, a new power system introduced in this arc. Just like the Bound arc, I was never opposed to surprises and felt it was rather refreshing, especially because Ichigo was heavily nerfed and was forced to use a completely different power, which was quite a risk for the author to take, and that type of risk is how I personally believe you keep stories interesting. This arc was a lot of fun and didn't feel like a shonen. The characters were strange and peculiar, and there was also so much mystery. The true villain of the arc, Ginjo's reveal, was definitely a surprise for me at the time, and when Ichigo was betrayed by him, I was shook. For the Fullbring abilities, I was never too impressed and began looking forward to seeing when Ichigo would get his Soul Reaper powers back. The last few episodes of Bleach were pretty intense. The development I really loved was Ichigo's Soul Reaper powers combining with his Fullbring when he got them back, causing him to become a sort of hybrid being. Seeing all the old cast come back was also quite refreshing after having not seen them in such a long time, and they came back with these cool, clean ass, epic new designs. Overall, Ichigo's final fight against Ginjo was beautifully animated and ended the arc quite nicely. What makes Bleach stand out amongst the big 3 and even amongst shonen is that the characters are a lot more mature and feel more real in comparison to other shonen. And the protagonist Ichigo doesn't have any lofty goals like becoming the Pirate King or becoming the Hokage. Ichigo just wants to protect the people around him, hold on tight to the things he holds dear, and to do that, power is required. Bleach shows us that if you want to keep living the life you desire, then you're going to need the power and resources to protect that life you enjoy so much. To keep living the life he lives with the people he enjoys, Ichigo takes up his sword and charges forward with no doubt. That's why I love Ichigo as a protagonist, and that's why I love Bleach as a whole. Since I have yet to read the manga, that concludes my experience with Bleach. I might do a separate video on why I haven't read it, but all in all, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, comment your thoughts down below, and of course subscribe because I'm going to be doing a lot more videos like this one here. As always, have an awesome day. Jus D Hero, out.